Our topic today is factoring trinomial. We know that trinomial is a polynomial of three terms, such as x squared plus 8x plus 15. We have three terms. This is the first term, this is the second term, and this is the third term. We are going to see how we can factor this trinomial. Okay? How to factor this trinomial. And any trinomial in general, in the form of x squared plus bx plus c. How to factor that? Or any other form, let's say ax squared plus bx plus c. We will see together how to factor a trinomial, that is a polynomial of three terms. There are existing ways to factor a trinomial. Suppose if we have x squared plus 8x plus 15. How do we factor this trinomial? The first method is that find integers whose product is the last term and whose sum is the middle term. That is, find integers whose product is the last term. This is the last term. And whose sum is the middle term. This is the middle term. So how are we going to factor x squared plus 8x plus 15? You open parentheses, okay? And since we have here x squared, this means we have here x and x. Now we find integers whose product is 15 and whose sum is 8. What are those integers whose product is 15 and whose sum is 8? I guarantee you all know. Plus 3 and plus 5. 5 multiplied in 3 is 15. And if you add them together, you will get 8. Now you factored the trinomial, this trinomial. You are done in this case. If you would like to make sure that your answer is correct, now multiply this binomials. If you multiply, we know x will be multiplied in here, and x multiplied in here, and 3 multiplied in here, and 3 multiplied in here. So x multiplied in x is x squared, and x multiplied in 5 is plus 5x. Now 3 multiplied in x is plus 3x, and 3 multiplied in 5 is plus 15. 5x and 3x are like terms, so x squared plus 8x plus 15. This implies that our factoring is correct. Okay, this is correct. Let's now take another example. If we say x squared minus 9x plus 14, what to do to factor this? We find integers whose product is the last term, which is 14, and whose sum is the middle term. Okay, so give me those numbers or those integers that whose product is 14 and whose sum is minus 9. First we have to, now we have here x squared, so open parentheses, then this should be x and here should be x. Okay, give me those integers whose product is 14 and whose sum is minus 9. If you try, we have here 14. If you divide it by 1, it should be minus 1, minus 14. If you add these two, because if you multiply minus 1 into minus 14, should be 14. Okay, minus 1 and minus 14 is minus 15. So this is not, will not give the middle term. Another try, if you divide by minus 2, then the answer is minus 7. If you add them together, you will get minus 9, which is the middle term. Then our answer is here minus 2 and minus 7. Okay? Because minus 2 and minus 7, if you add them, you will get minus 9. And if you multiply them together, you will get plus 14. Okay? To make sure that your answer is correct, multiply x distributive property into here, and minus 2 into here, and see what is the answer. So x multiplied in x is x squared. X multiplied in minus 7 is minus 7x. Now, minus 2 multiplied in x is minus 2x. Minus 2 multiplied in minus 7 is plus 14. Now we have like terms. Okay? This x squared will go down, and we have here 9x and plus 14. So our answer is correct, because this is exactly the same one we factored before. So when factoring x squared minus 9x plus 14, our answer is this one. This is the factoring. Let's now take another example. X squared minus 5x minus 36. We want to find those integers where their product is minus 36 and their sum is minus 5. So what are they? Let's try. We have here 36. Okay? If you divide it by 1, we will get 36. 1 and 36 will get to 37. If you put here negative and here plus, be 35. It is not the middle, so this is will be excluded. If you divide it by 2, then we will get 18. If you put here negative and here positive, or here negative and here positive, it shouldn't be the middle term. Then it is not correct. If you add them together, we will get minus 16. Then divided by 3, divide 36 by 3, then we will get 13, right? If you get 13, you either put here positive or negative, and here positive and negative, you will not get minus 5. Check with 4. 36 divided by 4 is 9, okay? Let's check with positive here, negative here, positive here, negative here, and you will find that 4 and minus 9 are the two integers that when you multiply you will get minus 36, and when you add them together you will get minus 5, which is the middle term. Okay, so our answer should be here x plus 4 multiplied in x minus 9. To make sure, we will use the distributive property, x multiplied in here and x multiplied in here and 4 multiplied in here and 4 multiplied in here. X multiplied in x is x squared. X multiplied in minus 9 is minus 9x. Now 4 multiplied in x is plus 4x. 4 multiplied in minus 9, it is minus 36. Those are like terms. Then our answer is x squared minus 5x minus 36. This means that this factoring is correct. Let's now take another example. Factor x squared plus 7x minus 18. Okay, we open parentheses, x here and x here. Find those integers whose product is minus 18 and whose sum is plus 7. So we know exactly what are those integers that whose product is minus 18 and whose sum is 7, the middle term. I would say plus 9 and minus 2, because plus 9 multiplied in minus 2 is minus 18, and plus 9 minus 2 is the middle term, which is plus 7. Factoring is correct. Let's have another question. X squared plus 7xy plus 10y squared. Before factoring, let me organize it in an easy way for you to understand. Okay, I would say x squared plus 7y, okay, multiplied in x, plus 10y squared. Okay, now you can factor. Find those integers whose product is 10y squared and whose sum is 7y. I would say 5y multiplied in 2y. It will give us 10y squared if you multiply it together, and if you add them together you will get the middle term, which is 7y. So when factoring this, it should be here x, here plus 2y, and here plus 5y. You can make sure using the distributive property to make sure that your factoring is correct. Let's take another question. B squared plus 12b minus 28. Now find those integers whose product is minus 28 and whose sum is the middle term, which is plus 12. Let's try. If we say this is 28, if you divide by 1 we have 28. If you divide by 2 you will have 14. If you divide by 3 you will have no. If you divide by 4 you will have 7. Okay, among them you will find that 2 and 14 may lead us to the correct answer. However, we have to be careful of the sign. Okay, so because here it is positive 12, I would choose 14 to be positive and 2 to be negative. Okay, because if you multiply minus 2 into positive 14 you will get minus 28, and if you add minus 2 to plus 14 you will get plus 12. So your factoring should be here b and here b, minus 2 and plus 14. If you want to make sure, use the distributive property to make sure that your factoring is correct. Sometimes there are trinomials that are non-factorable over integers. For example, if I say to you x squared plus 3x plus 7, this trinomial is non-factorable over integers because there are no integers whose product is 7 and whose sum is 3. It is impossible to factor this polynomial into a product of two polynomials. In this case, it is called the non-factorable over integers polynomial. In this case, this is called non-factorable over the integers because simply it is impossible to factor the normal way, where the product of two integers is the last term and the addition should be the middle term. We cannot do so in this example, so it is said to be a non-factorable over the integers. There are cases we have trinomials in the form ax squared plus bx plus c. How to factor those trinomials? You can use the trial method. For example, 6x squared minus 11x plus 4. How to factor that? We will use the trial method. Okay? We will use the trial method. Now, what are those numbers? When you multiply them, you will get 4. And when you add them, you will get minus 11. This is the question we have to answer. Okay? Taking care that we have here a is not equal to 1 like before. We use 2. Here we have a. Okay, so what to do in this case? Using the trial method. Here we have 6x multiplied in x, and we will try. What are the numbers that their product is positive 4 and their sum is negative 11? Probably we should consider those negative products of 4. 4 can be divided into, let's say, -1 and -4. We are interested in that because negative multiplied in negative will give a positive number, and if you add you will get a negative number. Okay, so 4 is divided to -1 and -4 and -2 and -2. Okay, let's try. Let's say here -1 and here -4, and use the distributive property to check if the middle term is -11. After using the distributive property, we'll find this as -25x, which is not -11x that we are seeking. We are not going to use the whole distributive properties always. However, we are interested now in these numbers. How to get them? We can get them from the out and inner multiplication, if you remember the FOIL method. From the out and the inner. 6x multiplied in -4 is -24x, and -1 multiplied x is -x. When we try, we will use the out and inner, okay, to check in a very fast way. So again, if you multiply it, 6x into -4 is -24x, and if you multiply -1 into x, it is -x. If you add them, it is not -11x. So we are going to exclude it. Let's now check another numbers. Let's check if it is here -4 and here -1. The outer is -6x. The inner is -4x. If you add them, you will get -10x. Then it is not equal to -11x that we are looking for. So we are going to exclude them. Let's now check another number. So if we say here -2 and here -2, the outer 6x multiplied -2 is -12x. The inner -2 multiplied in x is -2x. If you add them together, you will get -14x, which is not the thing we want. So it should be -11x for your factoring to be correct. So we are going to exclude them. Now the question comes to you: are we done because we checked all numbers? The answer is no, because there is a room to work with. We have here 6x squared. 6x squared can be factored to 2x and 3x. That is, we can have here 2x and we have here 3x, because 2x multiplied with 3x is 6x squared. This means we are not done. We have to check also with 2x and 3x using these numbers whether we will get the middle term equals to -11x or not. Let's check. Let's first use -1 and -4. The outer here, 2x multiplied in -4 is -8x. The inner here, -1 multiplied in 3x is -3x. If you add them together, you will get -11x. This is exactly the middle term we are looking for. Then our factoring, which is 2x -1 multiplied in 3x -4, is the correct factoring. You can double check using the distributive property to check if your factoring is correct or not. However, we are not going to do that, since we already know that the outer multiplied in the inner is minus 11x, and 2x when multiplied in 3x should be 6x squared, and if we say minus 1 multiplied in minus 4 is positive 4. However, this is a quick check. You can check the outer and the inner and the first and the last. You can get exactly your polynomial if you want to double check. However, it is now, this is the factoring that you will get eventually. Let's now take another example. 57y squared plus y minus 6. Let's see now what are those numbers. If you multiply, you will get minus 6, and if you add, you will get positive 1. So let's factor first minus 6. Minus 6 can be factored to either minus 1 or 6, or plus 1 or minus 6. Also either minus 2 and 3, or plus 2 and minus 3. Okay, if you check, try 57y here multiplied here in y. Okay, if you check all numbers here, whether you put minus 1 here plus 6, or you put positive 6 here minus 1, or you put plus 1 here minus 6, or you put minus 6 here and plus 1 here, or you put minus 2 here and plus 3 here, or you put plus 3 here minus 2 here, or you put plus 2 here or minus 3 here, or you put minus 3 here and plus 2 here, you will not get the answer where the outer multiplied together and the inner multiplied together will never give you 1y. Okay, so once you try, check, you will eventually get to the final answer. You need to factor 57y squared. Factoring 57y squared may be 19y multiplied in 3y. Okay, and let's check if we can get the middle term to be 1. Let's put here 19y and here 3y, and check all these numbers interchangeably. For example, you check here minus 1 and check here plus 6, and also you check here plus 6 and here minus 1, and you check here 1 and here minus 6, and here minus, also you check here minus 6, here 1, and you check here minus 2 and 3, and check here 3 and minus 2, and you check here positive 2 and minus 3, and you check here minus 3, and you check here 2. You have to check them all. After checking them all, you will find that your factoring is 19y minus 6 here plus 1, because if you multiply the outer here it is 19y, and if you multiply the inner here you will have minus 18y. If you add them together you will have 1y, which is the middle term. Okay, so then this is the correct factoring. 19y minus 6 multiplied in 3y plus 1. This is your correct factoring. Let's now practice with examples. The first example, x squared plus 7x plus 12. Now a here is 1, so we can do something here, may do something here if it is factorable over integers. Let's find those numbers whose multiplication is plus 12 and whose addition is 7, or whose sum is 7. So I will open parentheses, this is equal 2, of course, multiplied in x here. What are the numbers whose product is 12 and whose addition is 7? I would say plus 3 and plus 4. If you multiply 4 into 3, you will get 12. And if you add them together, the sum is plus 7. Another question. A square minus 10a minus 24. Okay, let's factor it. Okay, here a and here we have a. What are the numbers if you multiply you will get minus 24, and if you add you will get minus 10? I would say minus 12 and plus 2. If you multiply minus 12 and plus 2 you will get minus 24, and if you add them together, minus 12 and 2, you will get minus 10. Okay, another question. X squared plus 6x plus 5. When you factor it, here x and here x. What are the numbers if you multiply you will get 5, and if you add them you will get plus 6? I would say plus 5 and plus 1. If you multiply positive 5 into positive 1 you will get positive 5, and if you add them together you will have the sum as plus 6. Another question. 6x squared plus 25x plus 4. When you factor, of course this is using the trial method. You will try as much as you can. However, you can in a very speed way recognize when you look carefully into the polynomial. Why is that? Because we want a term here. If we multiply 6 for example into positive 4 you will get 24, and if you multiply here x into plus 1 you will get x. So 24x plus x is the middle, 25x it is the middle term. So your answer is immediately can be found. Okay, which is plus 1 here plus 4 here, because 1 if you multiplied it in 4 you will get the last term, and now if you multiply the outer and add it with the inner multiplication you will get the middle term. Another question. 51x squared minus 5x minus 4. Okay, this is using the trial method. Focus in the polynomial. If we put here 51x multiplied in x, okay, we will have a very huge number 51 compared to minus 5, so we will try very different numbers and may lead us to a very difficult situation. However, try to factor 51. If you factor 51x squared, you may have 17x multiplied in 3x. You will get 51x squared. Now, this may be getting us to the answer. Now, found numbers that if you multiply, you will get minus 4. What are those numbers? Let's say positive 4 and minus 1. Now, if you multiply here the outer, you will get here 68x. You will get here 68x, and here you will get minus 3x. If you add them together, you will get 65x, which is not the one we are seeking, the middle term. Okay, so we are going to exclude this. Let's say we put positive 4 here and minus 1 here. See the outer, 17x multiplied in minus 1 is minus 17x, and plus 4 multiplied in 3x is 12x. If you add them together, you would have minus 5x. This means we are getting the middle term. Therefore, our factoring, which is 17x plus 4 multiplied in 3x minus 1, is a correct factoring. Let's take another question. Again, I would make this easier. So this is 6x squared plus this is y multiplied in x minus 40y squared. So factor this, this is equal to, let's factor 6x squared to 3x multiplied in 2x. Okay, and check what are the numbers. If you multiply, you will get 40. This is only because we have here a. However, I factored 6x squared because I felt it will lead me to the correct answer. Therefore, when factoring minus 40y squared, one of the factors is when you multiply 5 into 8. Okay, so if you check here negative and here positive, or positive 8 and negative 5, you will find that your answer is here plus 8y and here minus 5y. If you see 3x multiplied, the outer, if you say 3x multiplied in minus 5y is minus 15xy, and you multiply the inner, you will have 16xy. If you add them together, you will have xy. So your factoring is correct. Another question. If you factor this 6x squared plus 23x, okay, plus 15, I would do this because 6x will give us a big number. Okay, multiply the x. So I would choose what are the numbers that would multiply. So plus 5, okay, because 5 multiplying 6x is 30x, which is very close to 23, so it may lead us to a number. Let's say plus 5 and plus 3. Okay, so 6x multiplied in plus 5 is what? 30x. 3x here, if you add them, you will get 33x. So we are going to change these numbers because they are not giving us the middle term. So let's say here I will put here plus 5, I will put here plus 3. Okay, so 6 multiplied in 3, 6x multiplied in 3 is 18x, and here 5 multiplied in x is 5x. If you add them together, you will get 23x. Okay, so your factoring, which is 6x plus 5 multiplied in x plus 3, is the correct factoring.